Lesson 8, seeing things from their center. That seems like sort of a strange topic. But you know, people will relate to realities that are in tune, that resonate with their own. It's sort of like if you have the dampers off a piano and play a particular note away from the piano, the notes that resonate with that note will resound also on the piano. And you see that people also will tend to gravitate toward others who are like them. Negative people will tend to seek out negative people. Artists will tend to seek out artists. Businessmen will tend to seek out and mix with businessmen. We tend to mix with those who resonate with ourselves. Now then, a person who is trying to accomplish things in this world is trying to resonate with those things that he's trying to accomplish. He's trying to resonate with the people that he's trying to lead. If he is trying to accomplish everything from his own inner center outward, then he needs also to think in terms of the center of the situation that he's trying to work on or the people that he's trying to work with. Reach out from your center to the center of life, to the center of projects, to the center of people. Now that's a subtle point, and I don't really know how to explain it too well. It's a little easier where people are concerned. That if you're really trying to reach them in a way that will resonate with your magnetism, and you're working from your own inner center, then don't be concentrated so much on their expressions, the clothes they're wearing, the words they use, those superficial things, but try to resonate to that center within themselves from which whatever they do, of which I should say everything is a manifestation. You will be able to reach them with your magnetism much better if you touch them at the source of their magnetism from the source of your magnetism. So far so good. I don't think that's all that hard to understand. But here's something else that is a little harder, and that is how to get to the center of a problem in order to solve it, the center of a project in order to carry it through to completion. I'm not quite sure. Some of the things I'm saying, I suppose, are a bit subjective, and maybe you'd find another way of putting it. But as I've said, I'm trying to talk from my experience, and this is my experience. That when I am working on something and try to, let's say I'm solving a problem or trying to solve one, I try to get away all the extraneous things, the manifestations of the problem or of the solution, the things other people say about it or whatever it might be. I try to get down to, well, perhaps instead of center I could say its inner essence. If I can get deep enough into that inner essence, then suddenly I understand the whole thing. And it seems to go well. I don't know why it works, but I think it's worth sharing with you so that if you can tune into what I'm saying, you may find it'll help you too. You work with a project. Well, that project has so many things involved in it, the money that you need to raise for it, the people you need to involve in it, the things that you have to buy to make it work, and all that. But those are peripheral. And to most people, those are the essential things to think about. Whenever you propose an idea to your so-called rationalist or man of who's totally wed to the idea of just common sense in everything, he would say, well, you got to think of this first. But in fact, that isn't true. If you will get down to the essence of what you're trying to do, you will find that all those things get drawn in automatically. If you try to, let's say you're wanting to, well, what can I use an example? Well, let's build an organization, and you're thinking in terms of getting people involved in it, raising the money to build the buildings for it, all those things, yes. But if that's where your mind is, you'll find that it won't actualize so much as, well, let's put it this way, you give it life. Life comes from the center. The difference between a man-made fiber and a fiber that grows in nature, a stem of a plant, for example, is that the stem of the plant has a hole through the center, whereas a nylon cord doesn't have a hole. The life force flows through the center. The life of your body flows through the center of the spine, outward from the spine into the nervous system. If you can get to where the life of the project is, if you can get to the seat of its life, that which gives it its reality, which makes it a living, vibrating, worthwhile thing, then all these other things sort of just are manifestations of that life. But if you work with the form and not with the inner essence and energy, then what you'll find is that it remains a sort of a dead project. Things are living in their own way. They're living to the extent that you give them life, but if you have enthusiasm for something, you're giving it life. A leader has to think in terms of life. He has to think in terms, as I've said, of energy. And that means always trying to touch those things from which their reality radiates. Have I made that clear? I hope so. Try to feel that your center touches the center of all life everywhere. You know, when you try to understand other people, you can understand them judgmentally, you can understand them analytically, you can sort of pull them apart and say, well, he's this way because he was that way, and so on. Or you can understand them with empathy, with compassion. You can identify with them to the point where you see where they're coming from, instead of imposing your values, your ideas, your purposes on them. If you can get to where they're coming from, if you can feel that while talking to them, you're talking as if they were talking, then you will be a really magnetic leader. Because then you will make people know, they will understand that it's their interest that you have at heart, not your own, that you're not trying to use them, that you're thinking of their own welfare. You will be able to touch them at that point where their own magnetism can flower. And that's what I've said that magnetizing people really is. It's not a matter of imposing anything, it's a matter of soliciting, of inviting, of drawing out from their center that which they have to respond with. And that means relating to them at their center. So if you want to be magnetic, live at your own center and relate to the center of all people, all things, all undertakings that you're involved with.